Hi, my name is Casey. I'm currently a third year returning RA. I'm a senior at FGCU studying international management and have a minor in entrepreneurship. I have truly had nothing but the best experience being a returning RA for the last 3 years within the Soviet community, and I would love to continue that if possible throughout my graduate degree program that I'm coming back into for the fall of 2025. I'd love to gain more leadership skills and become a mentor to not only new RAs that I would work with on my new team, but also to the new students that I'd be in charge of leading into successful places at FGCU. I'd also really love to continue this role because it would help me learn how to implement these crisis management situations and all these other skills that we've learned through programming, documentation, on-call procedures, and even like as simple as connecting with a team and just team building. I would love to take those skills and apply them to my career as potentially being a manager or managing a team one day, whether that's me being an RLTA and RD for a community within housing or an international company abroad. I'd love to take the skills I've learned, take all that confidence that I've gained, and truly make an impact to whether it be another community here at FGCU or post graduation within my professional development, because truly deep down I've realized that I have a passion for leadership and I'd love to continue this role. It's made nothing but a positive impact on my ability to succeed academically, professionally, and it's given me the confidence to pursue a career that I never really thought I would pursue. And it's just been an amazing experience that I can't wait to build within a team again, if possible. Last fall, I remember having to balance student and staff responsibilities. There were a lot of deadlines coming up within the RA role, such as Emory wanted staff evaluations submitted, and then we had to schedule those out. We also had some on-call capacities to fill. For those residents that were checking out in my hallway, I had to make sure I had to schedule those meetings. I also had to make sure community connections and campus events were submitted. So I had a lot of tasks that had deadlines coming up. So making that schedule that I had in the fall was super helpful. Specifically, the technique that has worked best for me to make sure my student and staff responsibilities get done is doing specific tasks on certain days of the week. So if I had classes on Tuesday and Thursday last semester, then those were the days that I did all of my student related responsibilities and classworks to make sure that like I got everything done in a day. And then I had a few days a week where I would dedicate to community connections and all staff related stuff. Since we had team meeting on Wednesdays, I utilized that day primarily for RA work, and then that left me with Monday and Fridays for the occasional community connections, knocking on doors if I needed to, and scheduling out meetings for the RA role, while also giving myself that break over the weekend, which was really helpful because then it led me to not feel burnout during one of the most stressful times of the year. So it was very helpful to keep that schedule, reach out to my RD if I needed to reschedule anything, reach out to my professor to go to office hours, and ultimately just utilize the resources I have around me to make sure that if I need to switch something or need to kind of like work my schedule around a little bit, I'm able to in a timely manner, and people are aware of that, so I can get coverage if needed, or if I can like extend a deadline if needed. Some of the strategies that I implement to make sure that crisis situations and conflicts are always resolved in a way that they're supposed to be resolved, and all residents within a conflict or crisis situation are safe, is honestly by utilizing the resources that were given to us by ADs and our RDs. For example, Zachary and Ryan gave these to me. The incident reporting grid is my best friend when it comes to handling on-call situations that sometimes are very scary to tackle. And I love to use these resources that I was given to review what I'm supposed to do during on-call procedures, who I'm supposed to call, whether or not it needs to be documented or not, to make sure that I document those issues that might need to be resolved by certain campus offices, such as OIAC or FGCU conduct office, as well as making sure I use the resources I've been given by RDs. Like, for example, this was given to me by Tadarius for our Palmetto team. This essentially goes over all the situations you could ever encounter and what to do. And by reading those before I start my on-calls, I ensure that I know what I'm doing if there is, God forbid, a horrible incident that we have to respond to ensure that as a returner, I'm setting a good example to all those new RAs, knowing what I need to do, and then I'm able to mentor those new RAs that I might be on call with, or potentially even returning RAs that might have forgotten. I'm able to help them by being that person of support and by providing those resources, or being that person who can exemplify what needs to be done and how to write a report in a certain way to make sure that the issue is resolved and all the residents are safe. For example, when it comes to a specific incident, me and Nyla over the fall had an intoxication incident regarding an RA that was drinking in a Everglades hallway. We had received a call overnight about it, and when I came onto the scene, I had quickly realized that there was a big crowd of residents because one resident made it known to everybody that there was something happening, and then there was like a big group, and it was just a whole big situation. But luckily, because I was able to familiarize myself with the policies and expectations and how-to guides when it comes to handling on calls, I was able to remember that the first thing I need to do is call AOC and UPD. We did that immediately, and then while we were waiting for AOC and UPD to get on scene, we were making sure to monitor the area, make sure no residents were entering that one specific bathroom that the intoxicated resident was in, making sure that we were able to give that resident some space to ensure safety, making sure that one RA was out taking notes and getting perspectives on what had happened and what people had seen, while the other one was making sure that the other resident was safe, while of course not touching or anything like that, but more so like viewing and making sure that the resident that's intoxicated is safe and not choking on his own vomit or anything of that nature. So I'm able to give good descriptions to the UPD officer whenever he does arrive on scene. And that kind of ties into the ways that I would mentor new resident assistants and new residents, always by providing resources. So I'm a big firm believer on, we're given resources, we should read them, we should know them. I know when I was a new RA, I was given this really helpful resource guide with different QR codes highlighting different campus offices like Adaptive Services, CAA. This was given to me by a returner in Osprey Hall. His name was Joey Sakis. I've used these resources ever since. They've been such a big help on providing residents during community connections, different resources they can use throughout the school year to ensure success, but it's also a good way for me to talk and get to know these new RAs on my team and show them that, hey, there's easy ways for you to connect your residents with resources on campus. Such as like providing them with a QR code or bringing a little pamphlet for them to view. Like, for example, I brought, during my first initial community meeting, I brought my hallway all student resource pamphlets provided by the Student Care Service Office, so that every student had a pamphlet of QR codes that if they ever needed a specific resource, they could just look in there, see if there's anything like that offered at FGCU, especially if they're too shy to come to me. So they always have the resources. And I'd also always be there by answering any questions, making sure I'm active in the group me, present in conversations, making sure that I give examples throughout my experience of being an RA so that our new RAs know what to expect and new residents know how to handle things that I've undergone and some of the challenges of being a first year resident. So those are, as a returning RA that has experience, I would mentor new RAs on my team by just providing context on what to do during certain challenging situations based on my experience. Tell them what worked for me, tell them what didn't work for me. That's exactly what happened with me and Nyla once on call. We were talking about how she was having trouble communicating policies to her residents, and she didn't know a way to do that effectively. And I gave her some suggestions that worked for my trouble residents last year in Palmetto. And after a few intentional community connections and constant reminders on call, the residents learned, and it's no longer an issue, and they're aware of the impacts when it comes to being loud during quiet hours or deadbolting a door open. So just providing resources, being there, giving context on other ways to tackle a situation besides what they're doing, and constantly just being present, being around the new RAs, checking up with them to see if they need anything is truly the way that I would tackle mentorship and any help that they might need. In terms of feedback from residents and from staff members, I've gotten nothing but kind and good feedback on my RA evaluation, and then throughout the year with residents telling me that they're very glad I'm their RA, that they find what I suggest to them very helpful, that they really enjoyed the events that I've went with them to. For example, the ones during Weeks of Welcome, Casino Night, Eagle Revolution. They found those very fun and a great way that they found friendships throughout the semester that they still have. I've seen great friendships form from that one time. I encouraged residents to come and create hallway decorations with me for the semester, because one thing I remember talking about in community connections and seeing a commonality when it came to all my residents loving music. So I decided to decorate my hallway music themed to create an immersive environment, to create a sense of community and foster that sense of belonging and welcomeness in my hallway, which has been so fun with all the interactive decorations that we created, some of our residents and I. And that was actually one of the things that I was told that I could improve on, was creating a more programs for residents and for staff members so I could bond more with the team. I think the reason why was just because Everglades didn't have an RD for the longest time, and then when we did have an RD, we noticed that we really didn't have any team meetings for most of the fall semester. So then when coming into spring semester, it felt a little bit weird jumping into team meetings, and sometimes we felt disconnect among the team. But thanks to Emery's really fun video, I got motivated to inviting team members out to events that I'm going to plan for my residents, such as like movie nights in the building, karaoke nights. Me and Nyla are going to do one together, and then I plan on inviting some of the staff members to invite their residents along with my residents to go to the waterfront so I can inform all the residents on some of the free fun stuff that they can utilize on campus with their friends, or just if they want a relaxing day out by the ocean or beach. So that's something that I'm really excited to plan for fall, is just creating more events, bonding more with the team, especially my new on-call partner, and just creating like more of a bond with my team would be super fun. And in terms of change is truly inevitable, whether it's like this year with Eagle Post going to Star Res or not having RD, which was a huge change for me. I just like to handle situations with a positive state of mind, realizing that what's meant to happen will happen, and as long as I'm open with a flexible mindset, I'm willing to communicate any discrepancies I have or ask any questions I need to feel happy and like set in my role, as well as also checking up on my team and making sure I'm a leader as a returner is super beneficial to being able to adapt to either a new placement or just a new team dynamic.